Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Well, if you find yourself stuck in life, things aren't moving along. We all go through stuff, drama, challenges. There's one thing you can do, and it will propel your life forward. Many of us don't realize what a difference this actually makes. I'm going to say it's the F word. The F word is coming. It is forgiveness. Forgiving those who have done things to you, forgiving yourself as well, whatever the situation is. We're going to talk about that. It sounds easy. It's usually not that easy to do, but it can make a huge difference. And this is just one of the things that she coaches people on. And I love the name of her practice, Living Beautifully Broken. Dawn Manderfeld joins us once again here. How you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Very well, very well.
Good.
The forgiveness thing, it makes a big difference, but many of us don't realize it, right?
Exactly. When people hear the word forgiveness, they think that they're actually giving person that hurt them a free pass. And that's not what you're doing. You're helping yourself move forward. But a lot of people don't get that. They just really think, well, if I forgive that person, and that just means that it was okay for what they did. And a lot of times forgiving doesn't verbally mean going up to somebody and forgiving them. Sometimes that you're not able to do that. And it wouldn't even make sense to do that. Forgiveness really is all about us getting freedom, being able to move forward and not holding anger and harboring bitterness that really debunk what we want to do in our life.
And let's look at some of the essentials here. You don't have to let the other person know you're forgiving them in the process. You can. You don't have to. You don't condone what they did. You're just releasing that negative stuck energy within you in the forgiving process, which we're going to get to in a moment. You can look at it all different ways, but the bottom line, as I've experienced and heard, that once you release, it's a freedom that you never knew you had. And if you don't forgive, let's assume somebody did something really, really wrong to you. You're letting that control your life. You're letting them control your life. They don't care. They already moved on. They're not even giving you a thought. You may think they are. You may want them to. Not going to happen. Usually people like that just continue doing their own thing and that's it. They've already moved on.
You are 100% correct on that. The whole thing about forgiveness is when you forgive someone, it doesn't always mean the hurt happens or forgiving the hurt happens right away. It's letting the bitterness of what the person did to you finally be released from you, that you're not holding in that bitterness anymore. You may still have to work through the hurt a little bit, but in the long run, it's you not allowing them control every decision and every emotion that you have. And that's what unforgiveness does. You're giving them so much credit, and they don't deserve any credit. You're giving them credit to let you feel horrible and for you to be angry and for you to get mad. Why give that to somebody who really doesn't care?
Yeah, it's so true. Because we want a response out of them. You know, maybe you just want them to say they're sorry. Maybe it's not going to happen. Or maybe it has, but you're still thinking, but how could you do this? How do you get past if somebody has done almost the unthinkable and you just can't fathom how somebody can do what they did? How do you move past that? Because I think that's got a lot of people stuck. Like just connecting how that person could do that and hurt somebody else, meaning yourself. How do you move past that feeling?
It takes time. A lot of people want it done right away. Like we've shared before, we live in a microwave world. Push a button, it's done. It's over. When it comes to our emotions and when it comes to how our hearts and our minds work, Forgiveness takes time. For some people, it's easier than others. For other people, it can be very, very hard because you can be holding unforgiveness towards many, many people. And a lot of people think, well, I don't want to forgive. I want to hold on to that. That's a part of who I am. That gives me credibility to talk about them, complain about them, put blame on them. Well, in the long run, you're not hurting them when you do that either because they probably have moved on. What you're doing is you're building a character that you may not want to have that can really make people who really want to help and really want to be with you walk away from you
Mm.
because you're always talking about that. You're always upset about that. You're always putting blame. Unforgiveness, when people carry unforgiveness, the blame always goes to someone else. And we may not have done anything cause that person to hurt us. At the same time, don't allow their actions to literally destroy you. So it does take time. It takes time to talk it through. It takes time to put together in your head. What if I don't forgive? What if I keep talking about this? What if I keep losing friends because I'm so angry at this person, won't forgive them? You're going to start losing relationships longer you harbor that bitterness and unforgiveness. It really hurts you and only you in the long run ever.
It's so true. I'm glad you brought that up, Dawn, because a lot of us don't realize it. And if you're harboring these feelings, let's say it's for an ex, your friends have heard you spew many times, many times. And it's all good. You know, that's what your friends are for, to just hear what you got to say. But after a while, after time goes by, they don't want to hear it anymore. Sorry. they've 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 done what they can do. So now it's time to release. So what are those things that we can do to release that those negative feelings and forgive somebody?
A lot of what I have used that has worked is positive affirmation. Sometimes you have to faith it till you make it. And that means you sometimes have to write down on a card, on an index card, I do not want to be angry anymore. And you literally have to write that down and say it numerous times a day. And even if you don't feel like it, you need to start saying, I want to move forward. I want to be healthy. I want to be happy. When you start speaking that into you, then that's when you can start, your mind will start focusing on, oh, me being so angry is hurting my health. It's hurting my job place. It's hurting every relationship it has. It's blocking me from finding, per se, the next person who may be the right person for me. Positive affirmations are very powerful. And I could go to the religious part of it and bring scripture into it. And even in the Bible, it says it's not easy. It literally is one step at a time. But when you make the choice and you literally are like, I am done with this. I want to move on. I am tired of letting this person control every single aspect of my life. That's when people are ready, slowly just walk through it and say, like I said, take a marker and write it on your bathroom window. I am going to forgive so and so today. And keep speaking it and keep talking it until you literally feel less and less angry at them. And all of a sudden, before you know it, you're not even a subject of a topic of your subjects anymore. It's literally, you have literally forgiven them.
Yeah, you
But
don't
it's a
care.
process. It's a process.
I find it's also helpful to make commitments to yourself. For example, let's say you want to send a text. So instead of sending the text, write it in your notepad on your phone. What you would say, you know, let me craft this text right here before I send it, because I'll just copy and paste it and send it. You're not actually going to send it, but you're going to write it out.
Yeah,
You're going to write out your feelings. And if that doesn't work for you, put it in the text screen, but don't send it.
exactly. So it's a visual thing. So you can see what
Sure.
you're doing. Or like when you say write it down, it's, you literally write down what you would say to that person.
Hmm.
I had a person that I needed forgive, but he had passed before I could do it. I literally, one day it hit me so hard. I just verbally just said, so and so, I want you to know this is what you did to me. This is the hurt that you caused me. I allowed it to stay in my life for this long. Not anymore. I am going to forgive you for me, not for you. I am going to forgive you because I don't want to feel this way anymore. And even doing that numerous times, it will start. That's how our brains work. It will start actually coming into fruition. And before you know it, you have forgiven the person and you don't talk about that anymore. Or if you do, it doesn't hurt you anymore. And you use it as a story to share with somebody else going through the same thing.
It helps to talk about it, obviously. For me, in one particular situation, I actually use hypnotherapy. Didn't even know it existed for it. But long road, long process. Um, Depending on the situation, it takes time. And that's, to your point before about the microwave world we live in, you have to be patient. It's not like one day you're going to write something down and poof, everything's good. Now I forgive them. Let's moving forward. It's going to take time. It's a process depending on, what somebody did to you. Let's flip it around. Let's talk about forgiving yourself. Where do we start there?
Writing it down. Writing things down is huge
Hmm.
because you're not only you have to use a mental part of you to write it down, then you're using your visual senses to literally see it. So you're using your emotions and your mental status to write it down. You're using your visual senses to see it. When you start doing that, that's when you can realize that this is a really big thing and I'm really struggling with this. And that's the beginning process of being able to forgive yourself. And I I believe for me, it has been harder for me to forgive myself than it has been for those that have hurt me. Because I always say, I should have known better. I can do better. I should have done better. I mean, we have everything being thrown at us that makes us feel like we have to have perfection in everything that we do, and that we have to articulate and be exact in how we treat people. Because again, offense is so strong. But we take offense from ourselves and don't even realize it until we come to the point where I'm not worth that. I'm not worthy to have that. Look at what I've done. You know, I can't even forgive myself for saying that to someone. I can't forgive myself for that action. And it all steamrolls into literally, who do we want to be?
Hmm.
Where do we want to move forward in life? What kind of person do we want to be? And all of that has to do with forgiveness, others, and for ourselves. All of it falls into that category, literally.
And let's be honest, if it's a situation in a relationship, it always takes two. That person could have done something horrific, but in a relationship, there was a balance between the two of you. You had something to do with it as well. That's where I'm going with it.
Yep,
Yes, the scales could be tipped like this. This person did something really bad, but you were part of it in some way. So you have to be real with yourself. You can't play the,
exactly.
the victim and say, I can't believe what they did. Well, there was a give and take there, and maybe the scales tipped and they decided to do this. But that gets back to hurt people. People who do
Yeah.
things uh, intentionally or not to hurt other people usually are those who are going through some stuff or didn't realize that they have traumas from their past.
Yep. And it's learning to grow forward. And a lot of that being able to grow forward
Hmm.
takes being broken. You can't be a better person at anything if you've never been broken from something. And that goes along with in the relationship, realizing, yes, it takes two in a relationship. Now, to have a divorce, it only takes one. In some states, one person can do it and it's done, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Well, there is something that you can do about forgiving yourself, realizing what your mistakes are, and not wanting to make them again. Forgiving ourselves helps us grow through it so that we don't make those mistakes again. And it's a process and it takes time. Patience is another huge part of it, and a lot of people don't have patience. We have to be patient with ourselves because that's when we can come out of all of this forgiveness beautifully broken, literally.
I love what you just said, grow forward instead of, go forward. So you can go forward. No, so you can grow forward because that situation that you went through, that's making you stronger. So you're growing
Mhm.
as you grow forward, you're going forward. And that's so true. Like if you can take the lesson learned in a situation, yeah, somebody hurt you really bad. All right. How did that go down? Why did you allow them to? What was going on there? What didn't you see? Probably there was something there that, you didn't identify, or maybe you knew but didn't want to admit it to yourself. But growing forward, if you look at it that way, I don't want to, put on the rose-colored glasses, but look at it in a positive way. What you learned from the situation, what came from a relationship, whatever it might be, and how that's going to help you even be a better person and get a better situation next time, your life presents it.
It's okay to make mistakes if you learn from them. But if you keep making the same mistake and don't learn from them, you're going to be a very bitter, not a nice person to be around, and you're not going to have a whole lot of friends to support you.
Mm,
And that is what's very huge. A lot of people don't like to make mistakes, but that's when you learn about who you are, what you can tolerate, what you don't tolerate well, how you can work through making those changes. And all of that stems into forgiveness. You know, it could be a little mistake, it could be a big mistake. It's okay to make mistakes if you grow from them. It's not okay to make mistakes if it's always somebody else's fault and you don't want to see it. And that's just who I am. I don't want to change. And when you brought up relationships, it's huge. A type A person being with a type C person, pretty interesting relationship. Type B person with a type C, pretty okay. Type A with type B, probably the best. No, we're all trying to learn how to function and how to work and how to be a team. No matter where we are, whether you're in a family, still have to learn team dynamics. When you're at a job, it's team dynamics. When you're in a relationship, it's team dynamics. When you have friends, it's team dynamics. All of that is all these different people coming together
mm,
who all have different reasons why they do things. If you don't talk to them and say, hey, do you know that what you said really kind of bothered me or hurt me? It's okay to do that. And if they are your real friend and they really want to grow forward and they really want to walk in a life of forgiveness, they're going to say, oh, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to do that. A lot of people don't want to talk about it. They don't like confrontation and they think it's
mhm.
always going to be confrontation. You don't have to be rude and mean when you confront somebody. Say, hey, I just want you to know the other day when you said this, I've kind of let it fester in me and it really has bothered me. Can you tell me why you said it that way? Or, and maybe we took it the
Mm.
wrong way. Conversation is huge in any form of walking in forgiveness.
I just got a visual. I wanted to share this, what you just said. So I'm part of a men's group, been with them about 6 months, been very impactful. We share things. There's a larger group and then individual groups. And it's been believed that women hold on to things where men get it over with and move on. And there's a thing in the group called holding a list. So if you're holding a list on another man, you're angry. Something happened. You're holding a list and you're encouraged at every meeting. And they even throw it out along with other things. We check in, how you doing? A number from 1 to 10, et cetera. Um, Anybody here holding a list on somebody else? And there are times, the last meeting I went to, somebody got up. Yeah, I'm holding a list on insert name, Mike. You remember Mike? The two men face each other. Put your hand on the heart of each man like this, right? Crisscross. And one looks the other one in the eye and explains why he's angry, what you did to me. And there's positivity. Yeah, you're a great person, love you, whatever it is, but that wasn't right what you did. And That's it. Move on. And it sounds so simple. It really is effective. It's it's a little for a second, it's a little tense watching it, depending on what they're holding a list for. But it's like forgive and forget. That's it. Moving on. Um, it was an eye opener for me. And maybe that's what we should be doing. Like and that's what inspired it. You just said that, where you get vocal, communicate. Hey, listen, what you did wasn't cool. Let's talk about that. As opposed to sweeping it under the rug, then those negative feelings start growing like mold, right? And then it just gets worse and worse and worse. And you think it's going to go away, but not going to go away. You're always going to remember it. So you clear it.
Exactly. Exactly what you said. It is a lot simpler than people realize.
Mm,
It really is. Our emotions are such a strong part of who we are. And a lot of times, if we've tried to talk to someone in the past and they brushed us off or made comments, that right there can stop a lot of people from ever wanting to do it again. Like you said, just talk to them. Don't yell at them. It may get intense for a moment. You don't have to root them and say, "Man, you hurt me. I can't believe you know what you said to me." No, take a deep breath and just say, "Hey, I care about our friendship. I care about our relationship. This really bothered me the way you said it. Can you tell me how you meant it? You know, did you want it to bother me? Or did I take it the wrong way? Was I
mm.
in a mood that day?" We all get in moods where we can be easily irritated, easily agitated. And just talk to people, talk to them. Just ask them what they meant by that. Approach them. Be approachable and don't be afraid to approach. But your tone sets the whole setting for all of it.
It's such a great point because I'm thinking now could be a miscommunication. Maybe what you're thinking wasn't what the situation was, and you're angry over it, but it wasn't what you're thinking. You'll never know until you communicate.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Like that one phrase I told you before that I really, really like. And it's how I write it is be careful for the spirit of offense. It hears things never said and it perceives insults that were never given.
Mm-mm.
That's powerful. And that's why you have to communicate. It all
Yeah.
boils into are you going to forgive or not forgive?
And I get it. We don't like confrontation. Many of us don't want to deal with it. Final thought here. Have you ever heard of, and I'm going to say this wrong, Hyponopono or something similar? It's a Hawaiian
Yes, I have. Okay. Yep.
poem or mantra that you can
Yep.
repeat. If you Google it, and just even if you type in, you know, HOPON, whatever, Hawaii, it'll come up. It's been for generations, people have used it. I hear it's effective. I never have, but Hyponopono, something like that. Dawn, great talking about this today. Like it is, we don't realize how important it is. And it feels good to be angry at somebody. Just you feel justified, but all you're doing is letting them take your energy. And this is just a part of what you do in terms of life coaching. How do we find you? How do we connect with you?
You can go to my website, which is livingbb.org. You can email me at donrenee@livingbb.org, and my phone number is 952-200-1103.
I say it every time we get together, and I'm going to say it again. And I shared it with somebody recently over dinner. The name, Living Beautifully Broken. I love the fact that it is an admission of we're not perfect and it's okay. It's all right. Well, just fabulous. Instead of looking at the other way in, positivity, which is fine. It's getting real. We are broken. It's all good. It's all good.
It's all good.
One less way to be broken is forgive, without a doubt.
Yep.
Thank you so much for
Forgive
being
and
here.
grow forward.
Grow forward. Exactly. I'm stealing that one. Trust me. Uh, thanks for today, Dawn. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, and you have a blessed week now.
You too. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.